Hello, this time we're talking all things specialty cheese with two of the industry's most respected experts, Anne-Sophie Lecorps, Group Cultures Application Manager, and Annie Mornet, Senior Business Director for Cheese, both at IFF. Together they bring deep technical insight and decades of hands-on experience in helping cheesemakers around the world craft exceptional products. You're going to hear how they blend tradition and innovation, navigate the challenges of milk origin, coagulation and fermentation, and support the creation of standout cheeses that consumers truly love. So Annie and Sophie, thank you for joining us. I wonder then if we could start at the start. What first drew you to the world of cheese? Annie, what about you first?
First of all, I started working for cheese more than 30 years ago. And I discovered, the world of cheese via the microorganisms and what they can offer in terms of magic and how they can also help us to differentiate the final cheese. And when I discovered that you can manage the flavor, the color, the texture, and the taste via a combination of microorganisms, I was really convinced that I could really work for cheese for several years. And after 30 years, I can still say that I have a passion for the cheese because from milk to what you can obtain, which is really something incredible, and especially the specialty cheese, I'm still convinced that we can do much more and that we can also continue to bring innovation in order really to satisfy the final consumer.
Anne-Sophie?
So, for me, I joined the cheese application team 20 years ago. And it was at the end of my studies. I was a kind of a young intern, And I believe that at this time, I did not think at all that I would spend most of my professional life in the cheese area. But today I can say that crafting so many different products from only one ingredient, which is milk, and only playing with bacteria, enzyme, and process to create such a broad diversity of product. For me, it's just incredible, and I believe that every day when I discuss with customers or with the team, for me it's still amazing to think that we can reach such a big diversity of product only starting from milk.
Great. And when we talk about specialty cheese, what do we mean? What makes it special? What are we talking about here?
So you're right. Specialty cheese is special, and that's probably because, as we see it, as in our supplier role, it's because specialty cheese comprises a very wide range of different types of cheese, from soft to hard, with or without the rinds. But all of them, they have something in common. It's an exceptional, unique taste and texture with strong quality and character. And in fact, when you work within this area, specialty cheese, you have rewards. In fact, it allows us to help and preserve an important heritage, which is super important for the world of cheese and for our customers. And IFF is dedicated to helping our customers lead with innovation, all while respecting and celebrating the industry heritage.
Yeah, it must be rewarding. I mean, how does it make you feel knowing that you're playing such an important role in helping to shape cheeses that people all over the world are going to be enjoying?
Working on specialty cheese, I think it's super exciting because all these products are truly unique. They all have their own features and their own signatures, and they offer a nice playground where you can really influence taste, texture, color through the milk origin, the coagulants, and the cultures which are used in the product. At the same time, they remain very technical and demanding in terms of process. And I believe that when you achieve your goal in terms of final product quality, you can really feel a kind of sense of pride, I would say.
And the fact that cheese remains a crafted product and assisting our customers in combining culture, coagulant, and process to achieve consistency and excellence is truly exciting.
So given what we know about specialty cheeses, what are some of the biggest challenges facing cheesemakers in this space right now, would you say?
Yeah, so at least challenges is really something that is super important for us to capture. And cheesemakers face several challenges when creating specialty cheese, not only, but specialty cheese. And these challenges are seen at different levels. First of all, they need to find the right balance between profitability and quality, as they must differentiate from bulk cheese. That's super important for them to recover and make sure that they achieve the right profitability. But also, ensuring product safety is crucial, as it directly impacts the quality of the final product and can lead to negative effects such as loss of consistency, damage to brand reputation, non-compliance with regulations, operational disruptions, and increased costs. Therefore, as we see our role as a supplier, we see that any deviation is unacceptable. Additionally, understanding consumer behavior and preparing for the preferences of the new generation are significant challenges. We need also to capture what the new generation wants to see and wants to taste. We can stay competitive while we observe the evolving consumer behaviors. Recent trends showing a growing consumer preference for specialty cheese as snacks, driven by the desire for novel and premium food options. As a response to these trends, brands are now offering smaller or single-serving portions, which require significant change in the production chain. Improving the efficiency of cheese production is a game-changing, where we need to adapt ourselves, and it ensures this product will meet consumer demands while maintaining high standards of quality. Super important to balance between profitability, quality, and also pleasure.
Absolutely. So how do these challenges differ across the different categories, like blue cheese or goat's cheese, soft cheeses? Are there some variances in there?
Well, across these different cheese categories, I believe that the challenges remain quite the same. So, of course, the process and culture combination vary, but the challenges linked to production from raw milk, the need for flavor differentiation, the production cost, and the need to adapt to modern lifestyles to consume cheese, they remain all very constant. And I believe that the most important thing is to ensure that each cheese retains its unique identity. And for that, we try to support our customers while respecting the uniqueness of their cheese made from different types of milk. And for that, our role is to maintain and protect this diversity of flavors, because this diversity of flavors is an integral part of each country's heritage, and this is very key to protect and to maintain it. Another challenge, of course, in specialty cheese production is the bacteriophage virus, which can infiltrate the plant environment through air, weight transfer, or even on people's clothing. And so, of course, we need to provide the right support and the right recommendation to our customers. And in addition to proper cleaning place and sanitation processes, it is crucial to follow our recommendation in terms of culture rotation. IFF provides several options to mitigate phage impact, including the use of phage-resistant strains, and by offering troubleshooting services to anticipate and resolve potential phage issues. We really want to make our maximum to help and support our customers to solve these issues that can be very tricky in their plant.
Sure. And obviously those manufacturers, your customers, are dealing with complex fermentation processes. So how do you keep helping customers overcome the uncertainty of working with raw milk and those complex processes?
So it's true that the cheesemakers, they face this kind of uncertainty when they work from raw milk. because it will contain varying level of unwanted bacteria, and this unwanted bacteria might develop unpleasant of notes in the final product, which will be very unpleasant for the final consumers. And besides, the natural composition of milk is not constant, and it can vary depending on several factors, such as seasonality, for example. And complex fermentation processes might lead to variable acidification profile that will impact the final cheese texture and quality. But at the same time, this biodiversity is part of the identity of the product, and it contributes to rich and complex flavor development. So we should not try to remove this from the process. We should work and learn to work with this biodiversity, but we should not remove it, or we should not standardize it. Our goal is to mitigate the risks and to monitor their occurrence.
Okay, that makes sense. But how can you, how might you support that specifically? What kind of tools or solutions do you provide to help customers kind of navigate that uncertainty?
One thing, if, for example, we will propose some starters that will be more robust towards milk seasonality. So we will try to really select the right strains and formulate the right starters, being very robust to this seasonality. We can propose also some ripening cultures that will grow under less narrow conditions or in the most optimal time to prevent colonization of non-desired bacteria at the cheese surface. So these are examples of the way we can really help and support our customers for that specifically.
And can you explain a bit more about the role that IFF plays overall in the specialty value chain? There's a lot going on here and a lot to get right. So what's the job that IFF plays overall?
We could say that the specialty cheese category may seem quite traditional because the cheeses have sometimes been produced for decades using the same process. So they are known for their specific taste. And consumers are very loyal to this identity. They will select a cheese from the shelves in the supermarket because they know the taste, because they are used to it. And so it make it a real challenge to improve the process without impacting the final product. And for the cheese making process, IFF offers a range of coagulant and acidifiers that can help specialty cheese makers produce the right curd quality, which will be essential for processing milk into cheese and ensuring the highest quality of the final product. And when we speak about appearance, texture, and flavor differentiation, we also offer a wide range of adjunct and ripening cultures for our customers to create their own combinations that will make their cheese unique. We were mentioning at the beginning of the discussion this very unique signature of the product. And here, this is really what we aim to do with our range of products.
So this is proper partnership working. I love that. How do you typically work then with cheesemakers on a day-to-day basis? Are you on site? Are you working in pilot plants? Are you, consulting from remote places? How does it work?
I would say that our customers, they are true experts in this industry. And they really master their process like no one else. But nobody can completely avoid technical issues. So when it happens, we are always happy and ready to help by offering our support, by using our state-of-the-art equipment and methodologies to identify the cause and propose the best solutions. We have some good expertise in monitoring and analyzing cheese defects and ensure that we can provide effective solutions.
Yeah. So talk to us then, Annie, about the various solutions at IFF. Explain how cultures, adjuncts, protective agents help create these differentiated products for your customers.
Yeah, and this is an interesting question because we are here to adapt ourselves to the customer needs and not the opposite. So specialty cheese is, as we were saying previously, is super unique, and we need to treat each customer, as a unique customer. We need to respect their brand. We need also to understand, the choice for their milk source. There is also what we were saying before, the signature, which is super important to understand because, of course, it's always subjective to understand the flavor, to understand the texture. At least texture is probably easier, but to understand the flavor. And in fact, we are providing solutions in coagulant, acidifying cultures, ripening adjuncts, and also protective cultures. And we need also to find a way to support them in maintaining their market position, means to respect their brand, making sure that we are offering, consistency in the flavor performance and profile, making sure that they have a cheese that is excellent. And that's really, as Anne-Sophie was saying, a combination of how we're providing support with the portfolio we have, but we need still to adapt ourselves to their needs, making sure that their deep expertise and savoir-faire is also something that is used in combination to our savoir-faire. So we need to find the right mix of strain, coagulant, making sure that, again, we respect the uniqueness of their final cheese profile.
I get that. Every cheesemaker is different. They're going to have their own ways of doing things. So how do you then tailor your support to each cheesemaker's unique goals or overcoming some of the barriers and constraints they have?
Well, you've just mentioned that they all have different way to work, and they all have developed, their own process and their own product quality, their own signature. So I would say that the very first step is to carefully listen to our customers. We need to have a very deep understanding of their process, the setup of their production line, and really have a good understanding of the constraints and the challenges they face. It's super crucial to ensure that we can adapt our solution to meet the very specific needs they have. And this technical brief, it will be instrumental to initiate the customized approach we will implement in our pilot plant. So I speak about our pilot plant. So our pilot plant is located in Danger-Saint-Romain in France. And this certified pilot plant enable us to replicate all our customer processes. It's very key for us to work in same conditions as our customers to make sure that we can really deliver the right data, the right recommendations that will be very close to their conditions, to their customized conditions. So we have intentionally chosen to use smaller scale of equipment rather than big vats of milk, allowing us to adapt the process for any customers with a very high flexibility and agility. So for example, we have this VIP equipment. So VIP standing for vats in parallel. And this equipment is used weekly to test multiple solutions in one row.
Okay. Yeah. Can you explain a bit more about this VIP system? This sounds great. How does it help cheesemakers make sort of better decisions then?
Yeah. So this is a kind of we could almost say it's a kind of high throughput equipment for us at our small scale, but it will help us to generate some data collected under same conditions as our customers, and we will be able to really share some information that will be very well linked to their process. So the cheeses that will be produced according to their specific process criteria can then be graded, and the right selection of starters and ripening cultures can be done very easily. Once we are aligned with the solutions that we want our customer test, the application team will remain available to join the customer for pilot plant or industrial trials, and we will discuss or fine-tune the needs, and we will go until the grading of the cheese to make sure that the customer is fully satisfied with the solutions that has been delivered.
Yeah, that sounds great. Obviously, all of this is about keeping consumers happy. So what's going on out there among the consumer base? We've mentioned it briefly earlier, but what trends are you seeing among the consumers that are shaping the future of specialty cheese?
Yeah, this question is a very important one because, of course, as we were saying before, we are working based on the customer challenges, but we cannot ignore the consumer trends. And we need to make sure that we understand what will happen for the young people, but also I would say, the people who are, around 50, really to adapt again ourselves to these trends. And that's part of course, what needs to be captured to make sure that our development will fit the needs of this consumer. And they are different from a region to another, from an age group to another. Younger consumers, they have also more flexible perceptions. They consider, factors like nutrition, origin in their purchase decisions. There are sometimes willingness to explore different cheese varieties and alternative attributes. And they are also using cheese in different way. They are cooking the cheese. They're also eating the cheese as snacks. So we need also to adapt ourselves and also the offer based on what we see. And it can be also, there can be also a change which is very fast. And that's also the difficulty of what we are doing. We need to adapt ourselves in a fast way because you can have cheese that are yellow, that are blue, but also the non-specialty cheese, which are more the block in a way. And this is where we need also to bring the value of our ingredients by adapting ourselves, especially on the functionalities. And again, we have studies in different regions, in different countries, and that's super important that we also understand to make sure that yes, we will give the right flavor, the right again texture, really depending on the customer age. So our solutions, again, including coagulants, culture adjuncts, and protective culture, can help, as we were saying before, as Anne-Sophie was saying, can help to create this biodiversity by carefully listening to market trends. But we need to maintain this biodiversity in our portfolio because this is a need. It's not, an objective, it's a need to make sure that we'll give the appropriate taste and texture. And it's again, cheese is not exactly a recipe, but when it comes to ripening and differentiation, the recipe will be important because it's a combination of starters that will really help to give this differentiation. To know exactly what will happen in 3 years from now is super difficult. But again, that's the reason why we need also to have the flexibility of suggesting recipes of combination of starters to make the right job for the final cheese.
And a lot of what you've told us about cheese making is about tradition and legacy. And a lot of your customers have been producing cheese for many decades. So how are you able to support innovation at IFF without losing sight of tradition and traditional techniques?
Yeah, that's again an interesting question because we could think that innovation does not go with tradition, but our job is really to make sure that we understand tradition and how to bring modernity in the tradition we want to keep. So what is super important is making sure that traditional techniques involve the careful selection of microorganisms and expertise and is not in conflict with consistency. It's not because we are discussing about tradition that consistency does not make sense. That's super important that we bring, as I was saying, the modernity via the consistency. So, and for me, achieving the required consistency contributes to innovation. That's also a way to bring innovation and also to keep, as I was saying, the brand and the reputation of the brand. That's super important that we stick to that. Developing a methodology also that guarantees, the strain safety adds also value to the final cheese. You can discuss biodiversity, you can offer things that are a little bit exotic in a way, but one thing which is super important for a supplier like IFF is really to keep a high level of and being super demanding on what we call strain safety. When Anne-Sophie is describing what they are doing in their lab and also the people, how we are supporting the customers is really where we need to, again, maintain, but also improve the customer experience via what the team can also bring to the customer. The customer remains central, but our team is also here to keep, this high experience and make sure that we can also bring the value we need to bring to the customer.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love about talking to you, Annie and Anne-Sophie, is that you clearly love what you do. And I wonder whether you could share a favorite, success story or a customer collaboration, the way you've worked with someone that make you really proud.
Yeah, so the example I will give is probably a basic example, but an old one. But again, a specialty cheese is difficult because you need really to combine what we are saying, the fact that it is special with consistency. And consistency is not so easy because you need to manage, the strain and what you are bringing on the rind. And I have an example many years ago where a customer was producing a specialty cheese with a washed rind cheese, which is quite challenging because you need to be super precise, and at the same time, the nature does not really help you sometimes to be super precise. And making sure that you have always this visual and the consistency on how the cheese will be in terms of color and balance of the color is really difficult. And I recall a customer who faced significant contamination issues. The cheese was brown instead of being red because there were some deviation. And I had to really understand why we were in that situation because it was poor quality and substantial scraps. And my contribution here, it was a team effort. It's never one person, was really to ensure that we understood how they were producing the cheese. For me, ripening is a consequence of producing cheese in the right way. And we had to understood, the cheese matrix, all the process parameters that they were applying, making sure that there was no deviation in how they were producing the cheese, because, as I was saying, a well-prepared curd should be correct in how it will ripen. So together we analyze the matrix composition, the process parameters, we adjusted the process, and by doing so, we were able to manage, the ecology, and it was more, I would say, at least it was more consistent. The hygienic rule, cheese is also about hygienic rules, both for the ripening stuff, but also we didn't discuss that today, but also for fetch management. And by really implementing new rules, we were able really to maintain, at least to recover on the quality and demonstrate that ripening is not magic, but it's science. And it needs to be approached scientifically when the curd is properly processed.
What advice would you give to any aspiring cheesemaker trying to break into the specialty segment right now? Any advice for them?
So, and again, we are only a supplier to give some advice, but my advice for an aspiring cheesemaker breaking into the specialty cheese segment, is to first understand consumer preferences. That's what we said and what we try to do when we are IFF as a cheese supplier. But why? Because you will have a lot of difference from a region to another, but within a region from a country to another. And if you don't consider, the consumer preferences, it will be, I would say, a bias. And you need to avoid this bias. You need to be prepared. As I see it also, you also need to understand the cheese matrix, but also the milk origin. Milk origins is, of course, cow, sheep, or goat milk, but the milk quality is also super important to consider because it will also be a kind of bias in the final cheese composition and quality. Then you need also to think about the cheese segment. Is it lactic? Is it soft? Is it semi-hard cheese? Is it hard? Keeping in mind that ripened cheese can be costly to store. So based on these preferences, milk, the cheese segment, but also consumer preferences, I think I don't know if it is clever, but at least it can be also a way to save also profitability, or at least to protect your profitability. I would create what I would call a versatile cheese, suitable for both table use, but also various occasions to reach a broader population. Flexibility, as I was saying previously, is super important because the young generation, they go for this flexibility. They need a change. They need also, and we need to adapt ourselves to this new demand. So I would, based on that, I would probably imagine 2 cheeses from the same milk, short and long ripening, to have this flexibility. And of course, by working with a company like IFF, where we are really able to provide, I would say a solid range in terms of property, but also in terms of what we can offer for the cheese rind, which is color, but also texture, proteolysis. I think I would really use the expertise of IFF as a supplier to deliver these innovative solutions.
Great. So what's next then for IFF in this space? There's lots going on, but what's coming up the track?
So what's next? I think we gave several words. That is biodiversity. Protection of the biodiversity, making sure that we really offer as much as possible biodiversity and modernity, making sure that we can answer the consumer and the customer demand. So, and as a main player in the cheese industry, IFF needs to play this important role in supporting the evolution. Here, that's not a revolution, but that's really the evolution. Making sure that we understand the consumer demand, making sure that we are as close as possible to the young generation, but also to the generation who are eating cheese in a different way. So that's a constant evolution where we need to adapt ourselves. We are, I think, really using the power of science and innovation and combining that with our deep expertise in the food industry in application. And I think that what we said today also is that heritage in cheese is super important, and we need to combine the modernity and respect the heritage that is super important for our customers. So that's where we also can play a role. That's also important that we also protect our planet, with also the solution we can give by also optimizing any kind of, milk, energy, water. That's super important that we play a role also in that area. So we are, at IFF, we are at the forefront of this exciting journey, pioneering advancements in fermentation, enzymes, technology, and protective cultures. And I think we can really not only follow, but really anticipate as much as possible the need of our consumer, but also customers, really to offer the best we can in terms of innovation.
Annie and Anne-Sophie, thank you for telling us all about what's happening in the specialty cheese market. It's a fascinating space, as you say, constantly evolving. And it's incredibly interesting to find out how you guys are supporting cheese manufacturers and helping them to overcome the challenges they face right now. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.